So last week, I mentioned that I would be significantly limiting my coverage of the so-called Obamagate scandal because floating these conspiracy theories is how Donald Trump wins. It's how Trump distracts. It's how Donald Trump creates cover for himself. And in this case, Donald Trump has failed on coronavirus. He's fired 4 inspectors general in the last few months. And the way Trump distracts from this is to get media debating Obamagate, get media talking about his supposedly taking hydroxychloroquine. So I'm going to do this today because there's actually something to tell you about, which is a leaked document that shows that Barack Obama acted completely appropriately back in 2016 and 2017 when it comes to the Michael Flynn investigation. Now, I also, there's people in my audience who may not even really know what the Obamagate scandal supposedly is. Donald Trump clearly doesn't really understand it. He called it the greatest political crime in the history of the United States. And yet when he was asked for an explanation of what crime was committed, Trump didn't know, or he refused to say, and he went on to attack the journalist who asked the question. But generally, and I don't want to spend an hour on this because it's just not worth it, but we do have news today. Generally, Obamagate is related to the investigation into Donald Trump's disgraced former national security advisor, Michael Flynn, and Michael Flynn's eventual guilty pleas on multiple counts. The allegations, generally speaking, of Obamagate are Obama acted inappropriately. He pushed law enforcement to do this or that to Flynn. Obama was the puppeteer of a political hack job on Flynn in order to attack Trump, even to remove Trump. And it was all illegal, despite the fact that we still don't have clarity on what crimes supposedly were even committed. If you really want to know more about the details, you can find them, but it's just not even worth explaining it to you. We now have a released, unredacted memo from Barack Obama's then National Security Advisor, Susan Rice. This is what's called a contemporaneous memo. It's dated Friday, January 2017. It's a summary of her notes from the January 5th meeting that is the center of a lot of this. And again, I sort of don't want to go deep on this because it's a huge waste of time, but I want to get some of this on the record for everybody. In the letter, in the memo that Susan Rice wrote, she says, there was a briefing from the intelligence community about Russian hacking during 2016. And after that briefing, there was a meeting which she participated in. The meeting involved President Barack Obama, then FBI Director James Comey, Deputy Attorney General Sally Yates, Obama's National Security Advisor Susan Rice, who wrote this memo, and Vice President Joe Biden. So good, we know who was there. Susan Rice goes on to say, President Obama began the conversation by stressing his continued commitment to ensuring every aspect of this issue is handled by the intelligence and law enforcement communities by the book. Okay. The president stressed he is not asking about initiating or instructing anything from a law enforcement perspective. He reiterated that our law enforcement team needs to proceed as it normally would by the book. It goes on to say, Obama wants to ensure that in their interactions with the incoming Trump administration, they know if there are reasons they should not share information fully about Russia. James Comey then confirmed they will go by the book and added that he has some concerns that incoming National Security Advisor Michael Flynn is speaking more frequently than would be normal or typical with Russian Ambassador Sergei Kislyak, and it could be an issue when it comes to sensitive information. Comey said potentially the outgoing administration, the Obama administration, should be careful about passing sensitive information related to Russia to Michael Flynn because of the unusual level of communication between Flynn and the Russian ambassador. It's there in black and white. Obama wanted nothing special. Comey had these concerns, period. There is no crime there, particularly on the behalf of Barack Obama. The only shocking thing about this letter is how apolitically and professionally Barack Obama handled this, which I know seems inconceivable in the era of Donald Trump. Now, there's a few other things to mention. Barack Obama warned Donald Trump about Michael Flynn during the transition period. If Barack Obama were involved in shady business, why on earth would he call attention to it by mentioning Michael Flynn to Donald Trump? Why go to Trump and say, be careful with Flynn, if Obama is the one working on a criminal, trumped up, bogus hack job of Michael Flynn. It makes no sense. Now, lastly, there are people arguing that the proof that the FBI entrapped Michael Flynn is there are notes from January 24th, before a Michael Flynn interrogation, where they said one of the goals of this interrogation is to get Michael Flynn to lie. And there are people who are wildly saying that's proof that it was a setup. This is a perjury trap. This is entrapment. I hate to break it to you guys, but this is nothing controversial. These are FBI notes in advance of an interrogation about their goals for the interrogation. It's done all the time. Flynn had already lied at that point, and what they are making reference to here is they want to get Flynn's repeated lie on the record. This is not a perjury trap. There is also, perjury trap has a very narrow definition, and it's when there is no reason to suspect a crime has been committed, and you bring someone in for an interview only to get them to lie, absent any information that they've already lied in the past or have been potentially involved in any other crime. 999 out of 1,000 times when the term perjury trap is used, it simply does not apply. Michael Flynn lied multiple times. He pleaded guilty to 2 counts. He had denied that he told Kislyak to back off from escalating the situation in response to sanctions. That was a lie. He lied about a follow-up phone call. I think there was a third matter Flynn lied about that I now can't recall. And given the number of lies that Flynn told, he actually got a pretty damn good deal. He's a retired U.S. general. He got money from at least one foreign government, Turkey. He could have been charged with conspiracy. He could have been charged with failure to register as a foreign agent like his business partner Rafikian did. And in the end, he actually got a pretty good deal. Lastly, if James Comey had it in for Trump and wanted Hillary to win, and this Flynn thing was part of that, why did Comey not once but twice hold an optional press conference to talk about the investigation into Hillary Clinton's emails, not once but twice, including right before the November election? It makes no sense. It is a really dumb way for Comey to hurt Trump and help Hillary, to hold 2 press conferences or press briefings, public statements, talking about the investigation into Hillary Clinton's emails. So this entire Obamagate thing has backfired. It has spectacularly imploded, and very quickly you are starting to see the people around Donald Trump move on to new things. And it is all to distract from Trump's horrifying pandemic response. This is how Trump wins. Every document that comes out shows that Barack Obama certainly committed no crimes. It shows James Comey handled this in a way that corresponded with how you would have to sensitively deal with something when you know you have an incoming national security official that has to be investigated. It has evaporated before our very eyes. One of our sponsors is privacy.com. They're giving you $5 when you sign up for their completely free service at privacy.com/Pakman. I've been using Privacy for a little over a year now. You've heard me talk about it before. It's a lifesaver, and here's how it works. Takes just a couple of minutes to set up. Anytime you buy something online or on the phone, instead of actually using your real credit card number, the Privacy app and the browser plugin let you give each company a randomized virtual credit card number that you create out of thin air. It'll even autofill the card number with one click. And the payment is taken out of your checking account without the merchant ever knowing your real information. So this allows you to keep your banking information secure, but also to take control of your finances. You can create up to 12 of these virtual credit cards a month. You can set spending limits. You can freeze them. You can delete them anytime you want. So when you do this, it means you're not going to be charged when you don't want to be, because you can destroy the virtual card number right after using it, which, for instance, I love using free trials because I know I won't be charged when the trial is over if I use a virtual credit card number. You're keeping your identity private by not telling companies who you are. You're keeping your bank or credit card info protected against data breaches and identity theft. And it's free. There's no catch whatsoever. But if you want, Privacy also offers a $10 a month plan that gives you 1% cash back and lets you create 36 credit cards a month, and a $25 a month plan tailored more for small businesses where you can create 60 card numbers a month and much more. But definitely go ahead and at least get started with the free plan. You'll protect your financial info. Companies can't charge you unexpectedly. And like I said, you'll get $5 to spend when you sign up at privacy.com/Pakman.